Marc Andre Fleury and the Minnesota Wild invade T-Mobile Arena tonight. Is it a good cure for your Super Bowl hangover? VGK returns to its home barn. Our preview coming up next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you doing so. Find us wherever you get your podcast and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you today by Sleeper. Download the app and you can get up to $100 match play on your first deposit. Use the promo code Locked On NHL. Good morning, Mr. Golick. How are you today? Surviving Super Bowl and fun and shenanigans.
Made some money last night. Life is good. Made some money last night. Life is good.
Nice. So we have Mark AF, as I affectionately call him, Mark AF, and the Wild coming to town tonight. Wild, they honored the Flower the other night for his 1,000th game and for passing Patrick Waugh for the most wins a couple of nights ago against Pittsburgh. That was really nice. Coolest part of that entire day for him was his children, unbeknownst to him, coming in to read the opening lineups. And they did give him his flowers. I thought that was really cool. Minnesota had the number 1,000 next to him in flowers. So they gave him flowers. So that was pretty cool. But I guess a lot of fans here will always love Marc Andre Fleury. Let's start there about this love affair with Fleury and the fans tonight. He'll get another rousing ovation.
Gustafson's probably going to be the starting goalie. They've been mixing up their starts in Minnesota, so I think the Golden Knights fans might have.
Here? No.
I'm pretty confident he's not going to start tonight. And this is not the first time the Wild coach did this. Earlier in the season, I believe, when Flower went to Pittsburgh, I could be wrong, but there was an issue where he didn't start against the Penguins or something like that.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do right there? So it's maybe he will end up starting, but by the way they've been doing the starts, I think they're going to get the Gus bus tonight of Phil Gustafsson. So we'll see how that goes. But back to your comments, I like that, the love affair with Marc Andre Fleury. Marc Andre Fleury, the human, one of the best ever. Him and Riley Smith are alone on the VGK Mount Rushmore as far as character people for the organization. And there's a lot of great people that have obviously worn the VGK sweater, but as far as character, top-notch, everything, there's two people on Mount Rushmore. End of story. It's Fleury and Riley Smith. And there's still fans to this day that probably have sworn themselves never to go into T-Mobile the second Marc Andre Fleury got traded to the Blackhawks, and they're still mad that Pete DeBoer benched Derek England and all of these things. And, there's some fans that just can't let it go, so to speak. And I get that. Well, listen, there's also a Stanley Cup banner hanging up there. I don't know if it happens, if the events leading up to that would have been any difference, especially with trading Marc Andre Fleury. But you can't help but not to love Marc Andre Fleury. I was joking with someone that I was wondering if Fleury was even going to be in Vegas for today's game, because he's definitely on the block right now. You hear murmurs about Colorado and Edmonton potentially as a possible landing place. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, that could still happen, right? It's 7 a.m. in Vegas as we do this. There's a lot of day left right now, so we'll see what happens.
Wow, that would be real interesting, and that would be his revenge, so to speak, right? If he does come back within the Western Conference,
he has 9-9-3. The revenge would be for Alan Walsh. Fleury's over it, I'm sure, but Alan Walsh doesn't give up on anything.
Right, he's 9-9-3 overall this season, so lightly used, but I thought for sure he would be in net tonight. We'll have to see that. They have Kirill Kaprizov, who always seems to tangle with VGK, has a team record now of 20 or more goals in 4 seasons. So that's pretty big. First player to do so. The Wild currently are 7 points out of a playoff spot. They're in 6th place in the Central. And you know what happened that last year, if you recall, they did a huge they had a huge catch, I should say, of all these players that they picked up at the deadline. They acquired Gustav Nyquist, Marcus Johansson, Oscar Sundquist, but they've kind of hurt themselves. They have, I think, 1 or 2 players on LTIR, so they do have some cap room if they want to try to make a run here. But they also screwed themselves because Bill Guerin signed Marcus Foligno, Ryan Hartman. He signed John Klingberg and Matt Zuccarelli before the season to long-term extensions, and so multi-year deals. So we'll have to see what they do at the trade deadline, but more or less, like, they do have some space now, but they're going to have some issues long-term with this Wild team.
I mean, a couple things here as far as the playoffs go. They're 6th place, the Wild, in the Central right now, 51 points. I think they're 6 to 8 points, whatever the number is that you said.
7.
The issue isn't the amount of points; it's the fact that there's like 7 teams all in that little quagmire, if that's the right word to use, all in that little jungle of teams trying to get into the playoffs. So I think the task might be a little bit too difficult for the Wild. You never know. I mean, they do got some good talent, but the future of the Wild is in a good place. Obviously, you start with Kaprizov, right? But then you got Matt Boldy, Brock Faber, Marco Rossi. Kaprizov isn't as young. He's, I believe one of the KHL transplants, so he's a little bit of an older, younger player, if you will, but young by the NHL standards still. So the Wild, John Merrill's still there. Nice. John Merrill revenge game, 35 games this year. Let's go. Maybe John Merrill will play forward tonight and find a way.
Nice.
But like I said, the Wild are in a good place long-term-ish with their rookies and their younger players as well as some of the older players. I think the bigger question is, when will that perfect mix, when will that synergy all come together so they can go on a run? I mean, it took the Golden Knights 7 games to defeat them in the playoffs a few years ago. Golden Knights, again, 3-1 advantage in the series, and it winds up going 7 games. The Pete DeBoer era, that was a good time. But we'll see what the Wild are going to be like long term. We'll see if they can come into T-Mobile. I think this is probably a tough game for both teams. If I had to guess, there's probably a few players from both organizations watching that football game yesterday and maybe hanging out. I mean, obviously, Marc Andre Fleury's close with so many people. So, last night there was probably some drinks in the air and some catching up and stuff like that. So could be a guilty game for both sides, Tony. Guilty game coming for both teams.
No, I have to agree that I think that both teams will come out flat in a game like this tonight. I just think the layoff, too, for the VGK. Did Cassidy, again, did he give Alec Martinez the day off anyway so he could whine about
they practiced
the
yesterday?
Lions?
I was actually shocked. I was actually talking to someone within the organization. I said, they're going to have the day off. They're not practicing on Sunday, and they practiced yesterday. So
yeah,
there you go. But a big day at Pietrangelo, game number 1,000. I think that's something pretty important to talk about.
No flowers next to him, though, right?
Oh, he'll have something. He'll have something.
They'll put a gas pump next to Petro.
How about drones? They had a little gathering with the family and stuff. They had a little drone show honoring his 1,000 games. But it's exciting, right? I mean, Pietrangelo, like, I was thinking about this last night a little bit. He doesn't hit like McNabb. He doesn't skate like Theodore. He doesn't block shots like Alec Martinez. Like, he doesn't do a lot of things great on the ice, but he's good at doing a lot of great things, if that makes sense. He can chew up minutes against the league's best players. That's number one. He's playing, 23, 24 minutes a game. I haven't seen his last few game logs.
Is it fewer than last season? Sorry to cut you off there. Is it fewer than last season?
As far as minutes?
Yeah, I think his minutes are down from a season ago.
They might be a little bit, but I honestly don't think his minutes have.
If there are some fewer shifts, I think that would help his longevity.
There was one game, and I asked Coach Cassidy about this because it was the first time I had seen Pietrangelo get under. It was only the second time the entire season Pietrangelo was under 20 minutes played, and he's averaging 23.56 this season. So I can't imagine it's much different than last year. But there was one game where I did notice Pietrangelo got less than 20 minutes on the ice, and Cassidy mentioned it wasn't a conscious thing the team was trying to do. It was simply based off the special teams. There wasn't a lot of special team circumstances. I think they only had maybe one kill that game. Yeah. Well, they only had like one kill that game, and Pietrangelo at that time was not getting, and he's still not getting much power play time. So, I think I liked what Alec Martinez said about him, called him the iron lung. He feels he's never seen Pietrangelo tired but one or two times maybe in all their times together. So it'll be a fun night tonight. I just wonder if they're going to do a little better, because if you remember Phil Kessel, when Phil Kessel, it was his 1,000th straight game. I don't think it was his 1,000th game played, but it was like his 1,000th straight, whatever the number was for
the Iron Man.
For the Iron Man, and they gave him like a shot, right? They brought like a little shot thing, like there was like a glass of wine, and it was like a shooter about this big. And congrats on your 1,000th game, bro. So we'll see if the Golden Knights spend a little more for Pietrangelo and give him a little something.
Okay, and now, VGK fans, make sure that you stay till the end of practice, because Shea Theodore returns to the ice.
There it is.
I had to do something. We'll return with more right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. We want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy hockey app on Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper, our number one choice for the daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey. It's really cool because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contest. What players would you take this week to win 100 times money? Fans can also play daily fantasy NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, college football, and Sleeper. You can connect with a lot of fans. Entries must be made in under a minute, and all you have to do is pick whether a lot of the studs in the NHL will beat Sleeper. Who will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and much, much more in a given game. To win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard us, VGK fans. You can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention now. You can nail your picks, so you can do so and start to win big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you will get 100 times match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use. Welcome back. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen, and thanks for helping me to get through this past week. Really appreciate it. Craziest scene yesterday. So I did this thing called the Terribles Tailgate that I've been working on for 3 months or so, right? And all of a sudden, the most random part of the day, Mr. T pulls up. He's just walking through with some Skechers signage. He got paid, obviously, to do something with probably $2 million worth of jewelry on. And I tried to get him in the Pepsi bounce house, but he said, "Hey, no, bro. I got my jewelry on. I can't do it. Can't jump." That's what he said. And
I'm sure that's what was holding him back.
But it was so random. But fun week here in Las Vegas. And thanks to everyone that supported me and held me up and all of that. And some great teams that we assembled out there too. So it's back to business. It's Vegas Thrill Season. Vegas Thrill Season. Phil the Thrill, speaking of Vegas Thrill Season, Phil the Thrill still not signed by anyone.
I heard Vancouver was kicking the tires a little bit, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, Phil Kessel is the NHL's version of Jay Cutler. Just the difference between Jay Cutler and Phil Kessel is Phil Kessel is much more likable. I personally love Jay Cutler, but that's just me. I should have worn my Jay Cutler jersey. I was wearing it yesterday, actually.
Wow.
But I definitely think that, and what the reason I say that is Kessel, he's cool, I think, with whatever path things take from this point forward. If he goes back to the NHL, cool. If he doesn't, I think he's comfortable with that, with the fact that certainly might not be the path for him. And I don't think he cares, honestly. Now, does that mean he doesn't care about winning a Stanley Cup and helping a team? Don't confuse the words. But what more? I mean, what's he? 1, 2, 3 time Stanley Cup winner, I believe. The Ironman record, the games played, the amount of time in the NHL. I mean, I think the only thing maybe left was from an international perspective. He had an absolute dynamite tweet, I believe. It was what was it, when Team USA lost or Team Canada lost? When Team Canada lost and he wasn't on the roster, and he put out a tweet saying, I feel like I should be doing something tonight. I just can't quite put my finger on it. So, that's Phil Kessel in a nutshell right there.
So VGK's Shea Theodore back on the ice, returning this weekend, red jersey. Any word on his return? Will it be perhaps later in the week, or is he still a ways out?
I would give it a very slight chance tonight. But definitely I would have to assume, given the amount of time between games and such, I don't see much need for the Golden Knights to rush him back, especially in a game against the Wild, who aren't exactly the Carolina Hurricanes, which is who the Golden Knights are going to be playing on Saturday. So I think it's going to be give him plenty of practice time to get acclimated, get his feet under him as best you possibly can in practice. But the Golden Knights also need some time right now. The Golden Knights cannot just throw Shea Theodore into the fire without doing something. So right now, Keaton Korczak was sent down over the weekend. Could Korczak be called back up tonight? I think there's a very good chance, because the Golden Knights only have 6 defensemen on the active roster. So Korczak almost certainly is going to get called up. The Golden Knights always like to have that extra player if something were to happen during warmups or something like that. So expect to see a call up for Korczak tonight, but I think Miramonov might draw back into the lineup in Korczak's place. I think the Golden Knights really want to see what they have in him. So the Golden Knights situation right now, this is important. Their current cap space available with all the LTIR and cap roulette, as I like to put it, not cap gymnastics or shenanigans, as Tony would say. Golden Knights have $3.5 million available right now in cap space.
Get a good rental.
What's that?
You could get a good rental for that amount of money.
Well, but Shea Theodore does not count against the cap right now. So Shea Theodore is $5.2 million. So the Golden Knights need to shed some money. Number one is Brendan Brisson will be sent back down to the AHL once Theodore can come up. That's $925,000. That leaves the Golden Knights somewhere in the $700,000-800,000 range that they have to get rid of. There's no other players that can go up and down through the AHL without risk of being claimed off of waivers. The only two-way contract that remains is Paul Cotter. And obviously, if Paul Cotter were to be sent to the AHL, he'd have to clear waivers. He'd be picked up in a heartbeat by 28 of the 32 remaining teams. So I think one of two things ends up happening here. First of all, right now, Bjornfoot, I always call him Bjornfoot for whatever reason. Bjornfoot currently is IR. So the Golden Knights cannot do anything with him as far as trading or anything like that with him on IR. They have to obviously get him activated. So
what value does that guy have?
I think Bjornfoot's value is minimal. Like, I don't think the Golden Knights got Bjornfoot and said, this guy is going to help us win the Stanley Cup. This is the missing link. No, that's definitely not the case. Golden Knights had injury trouble. He was on waivers, and the Golden Knights took a shot and actually got him. So if more injuries were to happen and Bjornfoot were to get healthy, it would be a good plug-and-play type of player. He's only 22 years old, I believe, and he's already got over 100 NHL games played. So he's got some experience going. So I think the Golden Knights' ultimate goal with him would be to, if he can get activated, would be to, because remember, when the Golden Knights claimed him, they were probably around number 20 or 22, 23 in the claims order. So a lot of teams had passed up on him. So the Golden Knights' ultimate goal here might be to send Bjornfoot back down to the AHL. Hopefully he doesn't get claimed. That would clear up the space for Shea Theodore. Now, the other option potentially would be something with Miramonov. Golden Knights could be showcasing Miramonov. Miramonov does have some trade value. He's got some NHL games played, and he has that two-way, mobile ability. He also has a hard time staying healthy. the Golden Knights couldn't trade Bjornfoot and get much, if anything. I don't think anyone would give anything. But Miramonov could bring a lower level draft pick. So I guess the biggest question that McCrimmon has to answer, would you rather send Bjornfoot down and risk of losing him, or would you rather trade Miramonov and at least get something in return? I think those are maybe the questions, but there's a path. And I think once you do see that move, that trade, or that wave happen, if you will, that's when Shea Theodore is ready to play. So keep an eye on things throughout the week.
Now, why were you so suspicious? I missed the show on Friday, and I apologize for that. Why were you so suspicious about the absence of Zach Whitecloud? Listen to that dastardly laugh. I love it.
No. That one got me in a little bit of trouble.
Good.
Leave it there.
Oh no.
But to clarify, I was able to read between the lines, I guess. I'll try to look carefully on this one. But in reading between the lines, Zach Whitecloud missed Saturday's practice because of illness, along with 2 or 3 other players, I believe, including Mark Stone. Yes.
Yeah, Mark Stone, I know.
So, and also Cassidy didn't do pressers over the weekend as well. So there might be reading between the lines. I don't know why Cassidy or any of the member of the coaching staff, for that matter. Maybe there's no media there. I mean, that's also a possibility, to be completely fair. So reading between the lines, I would have to assume, my favorite word lately, I'd have to assume that Whitecloud was possibly unavailable due to illness. So I think that's what the result was. And to be fair, I mean, if I'm going to tread a little carefully here, I think also it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world maybe for Cassidy to give that information on Thursday after the Coyotes game. A lot of people were wondering about it, but to be fair, I wasn't there to ask Coach Cassidy that question, nor did any of the media that was there ask Cassidy that question. So it was a mystery. I certainly maybe jumped the gun a little bit as far as what it could have meant. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. We'll see.
Because
we'll see what happens this week.
So he was considered to be a healthy scratch, correct? And any time at this right, and any time at any part of this time of year that happens, the suspicion grows, the speculation grows every time, right? If there's
and that's fair. That's our job. Speculation is part of what we do.
Right. And so, no, you didn't jump the gun. I like it too. And thanks for stepping out of your comfort zone and taking a chance. Coming up next.
I'm comfortable saying whatever the heck I want. Don't kid yourself.
I know. Well, we've learned that. Coming up next. What comfort zone? Coming up next, locks of the night and our predictions ahead right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Blueberry pancakes is my safe word.
Fans, don't forget new customers at FanDuel.com. If you join today, you get $200 in bonus bets with your first bet of $5 or more. What were a couple of did you win prop bets yesterday? Give us your best prop bet.
Chiefs straight up, Chiefs second half, Chiefs in game. And then I had a 5-way single game parlay stack with Mahomes yardage, Kelsey yardage, outcomes. Yeah, it was good. It was a good day.
Okay. So just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and you can sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Welcome back. Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and the little Chris Whisperer, Chris Collins. We appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget, WTF, What the Friday coming up. I will be hopefully back to 100% by then. And, of course, we've got on Saturday the Chris and Chris show. I'm a little bit on tilt. I'm not going to.
So what movie was that where Blueberry Pancakes is the safe word? Are you a movie guy? I'm not a movie guy, but I know.
I'm not a movie guy. No, not at all.
That's Time Machine.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, that's the movie. John Cusack. Come on, man.
I will roll.
Such a bad good movie. Such a bad good movie.
It's time for our locks and predictions. But, of course.
Right by that one. Right by.
Yeah. It's all good. But VGK always has to try to one-up everyone. It's the Super Bowl, right? Oh, no, it's this. What the Monday I thought this was. They try to one-up everyone. Lil Jon had on his VGK Stanley Cup ring. And, of course, everyone just focused on that rather than the Minnesota Wild fan. Whoa.
That's his third favorite team.
Okay. Does he have other banners for teams, or
Do you have
remember
a
those
Rangers
little
banner, Chris, or no?
No.
remember those little miniature banners that we used to get when we were kids? Those were cool. Okay, locks and predictions. I will go first. I will go with the Wild, of course. My record's got to be horrendous this season, by the way. I'm going to go with Minnesota 4-3. 4-3 Minnesota. I'm going to stick with little Chris. I love the banner. Stone and Nick Waugh.
Likes the banner. Stone and Waugh.
Tony likes the banner. All right, go ahead, man. Is little Chris going to jump in here?
Chris, you go first. I'll
Are you
go
selling?
after on
Wait.
this one.
Before we go on, are you selling that box of cards right there in front of you? I like that
This
stand.
This is actually a Riley Smith bobblehead doll.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is
cool.
a Riley Smith. So right now my camera's set up. I have a 1992 Score baseball collector set as the camera stand. That's what's holding up this camera.
Love that.
About 8 inches. And then my Riley Smith bobblehead doll is holding up. So we're still working on the budget for Locked On Golden Knights. So those likes and subscribes would really help us improve our technology. But my technology is fine. Tony, maybe we can work on his a little bit.
My technology is me. It's me. Yeah. All right.
All right, Chris, go ahead, buddy. Get closer. Okay.
4-2 Wild.
What Golden Knight players?
Petro, Stevie, and Fleury.
Petro, Stevie, and Fleury. Okay.
All right. Good. It's a goalie assist.
Assist, yeah, but I still say Fleury's not playing. He's still waving the banner back there. He's having a good time. He's having fun.
This is great.
I will say this is what the best thing about the kids taking into hockey, though. I do mention this because for whatever reason we do seem to get a little blowback when that happens. But the fact that it's not just my kids, but other kids and adults do enjoy the sport of hockey, not just for their team. You're a Rangers guy, obviously, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. So that it's okay that that people enjoy other aspects of the NHL besides their hometown team. So I'm very thankful that Chris and Allie, this Saturday is actually a special game for me and Allie. Allie's second favorite team are the Carolina Hurricanes. That's a daddy-daughter night. We're going to go out before the game, have dinner, go somewhere beforehand, have an activity, and then we'll be up in the seats enjoying the game together.
I got all the feels on that one, man.
Oh yeah, such a good time. All right, so for me tonight,
that is great. Love it.
I think Vegas continues. I like 4-2 Vegas. I don't think it's going to be a clean game by either team.
Slow
Chris
start
is
slow
a word.
Start. Can you bet the under for the first period?
Yeah, you definitely can. It'll be usually they hang a goal and a half out there, and the under is usually the under actually usually gets you a little better value. So tonight might be a good spot actually to make that bet. I actually like that a lot. 4-2 Vegas. I think Vegas still finds a way. I really want to know. I mean, we're getting to the end here. Who's going to be in nets? We'll talk about that maybe in a quick second. But 4-2 Vegas. Pietrangelo is going to be on the poster. It's 1,000th game, so Pietrangelo probably will have some type of effect in the outcome of the game as far as the score sheet goes. And Petro and Cotter. I don't know. It's the first thing that came to my mind. Petro and Cotter. I really want to see someone not named Nick Waugh. I can't believe I'm saying this, but someone not named Nick Waugh, Marchessault, Stone, Barbashev, Stevenson, having effects on the score sheet right now. So Cotter, Petro, 4-2 Vegas for me. And then goalie situation. This is interesting.
Yeah.
If Aiden Hill goes tonight, that would mean the last start for Logan was the last game prior to the All-Star break. And Aiden Hill is going Saturday against the Hurricanes. So this is getting interesting right now. I hope there's a plan to slow Aiden Hill down once the games become a little more condensed, at least.
Yeah. And VGK, they cannot blame the lack of practice now, right? Because they've had all this space in between games.
No, now the ice will get bad again.
Okay. For my man, Chris Garlick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We appreciate you tuning in, especially our everydayers. We definitely do appreciate you. Don't forget WTF Fridays. Saturdays is the Chris and Chris show. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.